Go ahead.
I'll just do my spiel.
You're going to start first, right?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is 2 o'clock, Wednesday, April 11. The Committee on Education, Finance, Taxation now convenes this roundtable discussion where the media was advised on Tuesday, April 11. Second notice was on Friday, April 6, and today is Wednesday, April 11. And the time is 2 o'clock. The committee will hear and accept testimonies, both oral and written, on the following. The roundtable will discussing the University of Guam's Financial Aid Office issues on the student personnel information, their Social Security numbers. And joining me today is I have the President, Dr. Robert Underwood, and his staff, Mr. Duarte. The general rules of public hearing, the conduct of this roundtable hearing shall be as follows. Those testifying will be recognized in the order of the sign-up on the sign-in sheet. Written testimony may be read. Lengthy testimony should be summarized to about 5 minutes. Written testimony shall be submitted to the committee. Please provide our legislative staff with written testimony. Testimony shall be confined to the substance. Person will be allowed to present oral testimony only once. Once you are done, you may be asked to remain for questioning. When you speak, please make sure that the microphone is on and that you speak into the microphone. Please state your name. We will begin with Dr. Underwood. Mr. President.
All right.
Sir.
Thank you, Senator. Hafade, buenas tardes, and good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. The University of Guam takes this accidental disclosure of personal data as a serious matter which required an all-UOG response. The response will take all necessary steps to protect the integrity of the student data which was breached. The university has apologized to the students affected and offered services and further support moving forward. Let me explain what happened. On the afternoon of March 27, 2018, an employee at UOG inadvertently sent 154 student financial aid files to 196 other students. The employee was trying to inform the 196 students about the status of their financial awards and instead forwarded data on the 154 students. The employee informed her supervisor within minutes. On the following morning, March 28th, all students were informed about the mistake that had been made via email. Over the course of the next 2 days, a plan was developed which included information and input from the University of Guam's Office of Information Technology, OIT, the Financial Aid Office headed by Mr. Duarte here to my left, Enrollment Management for Student Services, and the Legal Counsel and Senior Administrators. This was clearly a FERPA violation, and we needed to respond within FERPA guidelines. We decided to hold 3 meetings with the affected students, which were held last week. The meetings were designed to explain the situation, listen to input, and offer support and services. Some students were justifiably upset. Some took it with equanimity, and over the course of the 3 meetings, 54 of the 154 students attended. All have been contacted, and a letter was sent out on Monday, April 9th, to reiterate acceptance of our responsibility and outline our services. We are offering 2 years of identity work service to students. This will monitor their credit history and report any anomalies which may surface. There is $1 million coverage for costs which may be incurred by any student who is financially harmed by this release of personal information. Additionally, the students will continue to receive identity restoration support from Experian even after the 2 years. For those without a credit record, a different kind of coverage is provided, which includes monitoring the dark web. This will also be for 24 months and offers the same kind of extended assistance for potential identity theft. These services, the opportunity to have these services given to them will be available until July 31st, 2018. As of today, 54 students have received an activation code to get these services. Of this number, 51 are on credit monitoring and 3 are on the dark web. By the end of the month, we will again communicate with the affected students and send an activation code to facilitate their participation. We hope to have 100% participation. It's important to note that even though they get the activation code, they have to ask for it themselves, and that will be available until July 31st. We have also communicated with 196 students who received the personal information. We advise them that although they receive this information involuntarily, they are still bound to obey the law and not pass it along to anyone else. We encourage them to delete their files. We gave them a form to fill out to certify that they have deleted it. OIT, the Office of Information Technology, immediately deleted 6 files. These were files that use a gotritons.uog.edu email address. The university is unable to delete email messages on private email addresses, so we have to secure their cooperation. And if not, we'll go ahead and work with Yahoo and Google. We have received 30 certifications to date. Each student is being personally contacted by phone to explain how seriously we take this matter. In addition to this, we also offered a 24-hour hotline. To date, there have been 49 calls. We also, probably a lot of media calls. We also set up a fraud protection website, http://uog.edu/fraud protection. There have been 556 visits and 318 unique ones. We're also in contact with federal agencies, the U.S. Secret Service and the FBI, to offer short-term training on identity theft and internet security. We're pleased to announce that we just confirmed it this morning. The Secret Service is going to do 2 workshops on April 20th at the UOG campus. We certainly regret this incident and apologize for any inconvenience experienced by the students. They have a right to privacy, and the expectation that the university they attend will take every step to ensure the full exercise of this right. No step will allay every single concern. In this world where Facebook executives are facing public scrutiny, where data breaches in the thousands have occurred in other universities, where data hacks have occurred in the millions for federal employees, the underlying message is to behave prudently and responsibly. In this case, the university accepts the responsibility for the data breach and will work with each student to protect them moving forward. We have all learned something from this experience. The difficult lessons are sometimes the most effective. Thank you very much, Senator. Good afternoon, Senator Nelson.
And thank you, Dr. Underwood, Mr. President. I'd like to recognize those who have joined me is the Speaker, B.J. Cruz, and Senator Talina Nelson. Wow, that letter actually covers most of the questions I was going to ask you today, Mr. Underwood, Dr. Underwood.
Well, good minds think alike.
I'm telling you.
I would like to think.
What I was going to, and then the information you provided with, out of 154 students, correct?
Right.
You've only got 51 responding. That's kind of sad.
Yes, it is. And so we're, that's, what they are responding to is that they get an activation code. So, in anticipation of that, what we're going to do is just give them all an activation code by the end of the month. It's important to note that they have to affirmatively enter the program, and that is available to them up until the end of July. And then the 2-year window starts after that.
Okay, the email system you have at UOG is Outlook, correct?
Pardon me?
The email system you have, for good examples, right. like here, the legislature is Gmail.
Right.
If I'm correct, I think UOG has Outlook.
Outlook, right.
And I know the IT folks, I talked about them earlier, is that, did anybody go into the system to try to retract the data that was sent out?
Yes, we did.
Okay.
We did. We actually use a version of Microsoft called Office 365.
Correct.
So what we have, since we created an Office of Informational Technology 2 years ago, hired a CIO, created it last year. We've tried to encourage everybody to use this email system. And what we have learned from this is that while I can certainly require that of employees, it's a little bit difficult for students, and so we are finding out that when we give this students this email address is actually after they enroll, when we should have given it to them as soon as they apply. And so we're going to change that because the participation rate in this Office 365 system, this Go Tritons, is not very good. So when the 196, so only 6 were on Go Tritons, so we could immediately go in there. So we have to, communicate with the others to try to figure out how to help them voluntarily sign a certification.
Okay. What is the system set up or the procedure set up at the university now that deals with access to this data, this type of data, or any of the data at the university? I'm just concerned that if inadvertently it was emailed out, how do you protect that now from being inadvertently, accidentally? So
the data was actually secured. The data itself was secure. The incident was created by the error on the person working the data. So it's not that somebody hacked the data or somebody was able to penetrate the data. It was an error made by an employee.
Okay. Senator Nelson, did you want to ask any questions in reference to this, or Speaker?
No, thank you, Mr. President, for being here. And thank you, Senator San Agustin, for addressing this issue. I think it's important to reiterate that, perhaps explain that, I see some of your IT folks are back here, no? Explain that your network is still secure, and this is just a human error that caused this leak of personal information.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct. It's important to note that, so actually when we reorganized the Office of Information Technology last year, we had 3 components. One was academic computing, one was administrative computing, and the third was cybersecurity. So that cybersecurity is like reviewing all its policies. There are some protocols even within our procedures that need changing. We're also we're in conversation with the University of Maryland to offer cybersecurity training for university students as part of their computer science program, as well as the general public. So this will be the first time that we'll have this level of training at Actually, this is giving us an opportunity to explain that we're not, this is unfortunate, but it is an opportunity to explain that we're trying to do what we can.
Right, and just to ensure that you do have policies in place that you still utilize to, and perhaps you will like to harden to address the human error issue on this piece.
Well, we'll deal with the human and the human error in accordance with our procedures. That will do.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Now, like I said, Dr. Underwood, I had a bunch of questions, but you answered it all in that letter, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank you.
Because there's, I'm hoping now, because from this lesson learned, that maybe there could be a workshop that the university can actually offer now to everybody.
That's right.
To include all the institutions, may it be the banks and the GovGuam agencies. You can make some good money out of that one for your courses.
Well,
I mean, not referring to the money, but
we have a couple of gentlemen back here who have, pretty smart at this, and then we have a new structure in our OIT, which actually we're pretty good at it. And so to the extent that you want to engage in public policy or public training, we'll be happy to help as much as we can.
Thank you. Is there any students here today? No, I don't see anybody here. I was really hoping, because that's what I got on the radio.
Yeah, we heard you on the radio.
Yeah, and I got emails, and and you understand where I was coming from, Dr. Underwood. Is something the
No, I
the Taitano clan does is that I was really hoping the students would be here today because that's what their plea for a couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, we spoke when you were off.
And I know that some students might be hearing this, and there was a concern, and it's a kind of an interesting concern, and I want to make sure that students understand this. If they agree to access to get it doesn't mitigate anything for them, you know. This is not part of a settlement. This is, if they want to talk about it some more, they're free to talk about it. If they want to take further action, if they want to go to any forum, of course they're free to do so. This is not an offer of a settlement. Mm-hmm. This is done by the university to be a responsible party. And so because there was, it was intimated by some students that maybe if they sign this, they'll never be able to say anything again. Absolutely, that's not true. They can, as long as, you know, we're engaged in reasonable and truthful conversation, I'd be happy to do that.
Yes. And I really appreciate that you mentioned the federal agencies that are involved on the issue, because I know revenue and tax will get a hold of, you know, they'll be informed by them on the identity theft. Coming from revenue and tax, very familiar with identity theft.
Yes, and I will leave not only my testimony, but a sheet which actually in detail outlines this two-year plan.
All right.
So that you can understand it.
If Speaker Cruz, you don't have anything?
No, the best comment that I heard was you were going to start a new program with.
Yeah, well, okay. I only have a couple more months to start a bunch of new programs. I better hurry up. Thank you very much.
All right. That being said, there's no students here today. And is there anybody from the university that want to speak? They're like, you got good staff.
That's right. You know, I don't know why.
They like that. There being none, the committee will conclude the roundtable hearing on the student personal information social security number. And if there's anybody out there that would like to submit any testimony, we'll be receiving them for the next few days. Address them to the Committee on Education, Finance, and Taxation. Submit it via email to Senator Joe S. San Agustin at gmail.com. My office is located at Rand Care Building, 2nd floor, Suite 3, 761 South Marine Corps Drive, Tamuning, Guam. Sincere modesty for your attendance and participating in today's roundtable. And for those at home, thank you for watching. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.